Hello viewers, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. While I've got the opportunity, I want to take a look at Trump at the G20. Of course, he's following similar patterns where he goes on these foreign trips, then he insults the host country, which he's done again, and a few more countries to boot, and gets things wrong, and of course is looking woefully inadequate at this point in time, so domestically and on foreign soil. So I want to have a look at what the leaders are thinking, those gathered at the G20 summit are thinking about Trump. I also want to look at will Trump and China reach some kind of deal, and are the world leaders worried about recession? Because certainly Australia's Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe is actually very worried. Australia's unemployment is rising, and if we're not already in recession, we're very close to it. That governor has talked about, he's just returned from the G20, as I said, where there's been a gathering of central bankers. He's put the risks of recession in fairly vivid terms. He's said, and this is a quote from our Reserve Bank governor returning from the G20 meeting of central bank governors, all the risks are tilted to the downside. He's saying that the dangers to global growth stemming from the showdown in investment by big firms nervous about the US-China tensions is driving a lot of this downturn. So will Trump reach in imposing those tariffs? I think I did a reading when he imposed his original tariffs. I had spoken to some sources of mine who, fairly well placed, who said that these tariffs would eventually lead to a world recession. So will there be a breakthrough there? And are leaders in fact worried about that, worried about recession? So let's have a look. G20. What are leaders thinking about Trump? Let's have a look at that. The G20, what are our leaders thinking about Trump? Probably ducking and weaving as usual. They don't want to be in the firing line. Well, they don't want to have tariffs imposed upon them. If Trump were to impose tariffs on Australia's exports of aluminium to the US, that would pretty much seal the recession for us. Canada also, has been precariously placed with the Trump regime right from the word go. Okay, so we've got the Page of Swords. This is the truth being prized open. It's an interesting, they're probably trying to forestall any sort of confrontation on anything with Trump, really, because he's so vindictive. G20s, what G20, what are the leaders thinking? What are the leaders thinking about Trump? Okay, so there's this Knight of Swords coming forward, but I'm feeling that this is not what, obviously they're hoping for, an end to all of this, but I feel that they're, while they want to take action around the truth, I'm feeling that they're very reluctant to. What's challenging them? Yeah, it's the economy. It's their own economies. It's debt. It's tariffs. It's trade. It's all of those issues. So that is the challenge to them, wanting to really be truthful, have a truthful and open, a transparent, albeit strategically diplomatic relationship, as they may have had with past US presidents. They're actually holding back for fear of what actually could occur, that they might get slapped with some kind of vindictiveness that Trump seems to display. Okay, so let's keep going. The foundation of the reading is the Magician. So all of these leaders are going to be fairly fairly clever about what they're doing. They would have put a lot of preparation into this. They would have assessed the risks, the current risks around Trump, and the way that things and his foreign policies, and they will be playing the game a very sophisticated game. Now, in the past, what's been on their mind has been loss, and we know that Trump has threatened on many occasions, and he's using the full weight of the world's leading global economy and influence. He's using that as a threat here, and they're worried about loss. The Ace of Swords, it's interesting because this truth keeps coming up here with Trump. And I wonder what that means here, the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords can also be conflict as well. So it can be barbs. It can be, they're probably worried about Trump running off at the mouth in the way that he's done. Because I'm feeling here a fairly sophisticated sidestepping or trying to sidestep Trump in the best way possible, so as they're not going to incur any loss here. But we've got two aces coming here. That's interesting because this is new starts. What are they thinking about Trump? Okay, they understand what's going on internally in America. This is what this reading is telling me. And as much and all as we're in the background going, impeach, 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 so are they. But it's interesting because they would know a lot more than what we do. There is fairly sophisticated briefings, there's fairly sophisticated intelligence, etc. I wonder if some of those leaders are already aware that that Trump is in a decline, and they're hoping for that new start. Yep, the Knight of Wands. This card is coming up increasingly when we talk about Mueller's investigations, what eventually could happen with the Trump presidency. It's almost as if, and as I said, these leaders are surrounded by very sophisticated information, data, and analysis, all based then upon a projection. So it looks like they maybe already know that he might be going one way or another, whether it's now or in the lead up to 2020, or whether it's in the 2020 election. This is somebody that is really primed, inspired, ready to go, but they're holding back their horse. They're not ready to go right now. So that's interesting because we've still got this delusion, this illusion of a presidency, and these smoke screens, and this smog. So they're all playing their own winning game here, basically not trying to upset him, not wanting to have tariffs slapped upon them. Their economies, they're worried about their economies, but we'll get to that question. But they, in some way, at some level, know that this cannot continue, and that there will be new starts here. This is the hope of someone's downfall, but it's also the fear of their own downfall. So they're playing a very clever, sophisticated game with the autocrat here, the Emperor Trump. Let's see what's clarifying that card. Of course, the Queen of Cups. We've talked a lot about who this Queen of Cups is, but regardless, to say she's everyone. She's everyone that's wanting the end to this circus, I guess. But it's also someone with information yet to be revealed. So as I said, they've got fairly sophisticated information. They've got departments below their leaders who are briefing them. They'd be all over this because they know that Trump's presidency is ending. So that's interesting. They're going into this G20 now in the full with an awareness that he can't survive, which is interesting, and they're just playing it very, very, very carefully so as not to avoid that loss in any way. Okay, now much depends on the China-US relationship and whether or not there will be an easing or a deal struck to ease or lift those tariffs, certainly not to impose any more. As I said, this was always going to drag the world. This fight was always going to not only affect your farmers and others in the US, but it was going to drag the world along with it into potential downturn. I don't know why, well, I guess it's like everything to do with Trump. We know what he's doing is incorrect or wrong, but it's whether or not he can be stopped with the current Republicans aiding and abetting this nonsense, and it is nonsense, really, isn't it? Does Trump know what he's doing? Well, we've seen time and time and time again that he doesn't. Okay, so will Trump? Yeah, so we've got his own self-interests at heart here, not necessarily the world's. And I want to get on later to Kushner meeting with foreign bodies, undermining Rex Tillerson, who has been appearing before the Congress and has really got a lot to say about how he was undermined as Secretary of State. But let's get back to the Trump and China situation, whether or not they're going to reach a deal at the G20. One would hope so. Are Trump and China going to reach a deal on tariffs to avoid or to end this tariff war? Are Trump and China going to reach a deal to end this tariff war? Trump, China, end tariff war. I've got some thoughts that came as I was shuffling, but I'll get to it. So the signifier card is loss here. Okay, there's loss, of course, there's loss. What is it being challenged by? And I feel that this is really, I guess there are three people in this circle here, and I don't feel that the US and China are together really at this point in time. It's challenged. That loss is the challenge is coming together. But I don't see that happening at this time. But we're early in the reading. We've got judgment and something ending. Is that the tariffs? Because of the high judgment that is currently being placed at this point in time, people are extremely worried. Judgment, something ending. Let's have a look. That's the foundation of the reading. It can also mean purely that people are watching on, understanding what's happening and making judgments about this war, trade war. Nine of Wands, very much, and economy's on the back foot here as a result. We've got the Hierophant, so we've also got really around tradition, really around fitting in, around institutions. So the institutions are being harmed by this trade war. Governments are also making necessary decisions as well. I'm also seeing your Congress too as what's in the sky. So let's just keep that in mind. All right, the Ace of Pentacles in the immediate future, new income sources. It could be that they reach a deal, but let's just see, because I'm also getting that other governments have moved away and have found their own trade routes, which of course was what was always going to happen. And of course, one of the big benefactors from all of this is Russia, because Russia and China have now reached new relationship, new partnerships, new collaborations, including on trade. Okay, we've got the Star of Hope at this time, so it could be that it's too early to read on this. At this point in time, because this is the current situation, it's hopeful that there will be a deal reached, because the environment around is this loss. So it would be very stark what is going on. If you were at the G20, it would be very stark pretty much what our Reserve Bank governor is saying, that the indications are downward facing. There's loss, and people are well aware of what's at stake here. The fear here is debt, spiraling debt and recession, and poverty, having to move into a recession where people won't have enough. Now we've got the Knight of Pentacles, which is can be a reliability here. It can be somebody, then this knight rushes in where everyone else dares to go. And it could be, yeah, there's something very solid about this knight. Let's get some clarifiers. Okay, the Three of Pentacles, people working together here to fix something. That's interesting. But we've still got the juggling and the manipulation. What's hidden from us is reunions, going back to the past, wanting better times. I'm just going to pull a clarifier because I know that this is an important question. Just a clarifier on the Knight of Pentacles. It appears someone is going to offer something. There's going to be an attempt at fixing this. But with that Two of Pentacles, it's showing me someone's still going to be juggling and manipulating. So are they able to reach a deal? Are they able to reach a deal? US, could I have some clarity, please, on the Knight of Pentacles? Are they able to reach a deal? Okay, the Seven of Pentacles. This is about reevaluation and managing something that's going off the rails. There certainly will be attempts to try and fix things, but we've got the Nine of Wands. Somebody is putting up boundaries here. And is almost a little bit desperate. So it's likely that you might get, well, there's the Ace of Pentacles here again. That's twice the Ace of Pentacles. Twice this card has appeared, which is suggesting new starts, new income sources, perhaps new trade. Okay, where I'm coming out on this is that I'm not getting a clear read. If I had a nine of cups, a Six of Wands. We've got these two aces, but not in the outcome. So it's looking like they're going to get close to a deal, that everybody's wanting this to happen. But there's something else that's going on with that Two of Pentacles. There's still a juggling. That's suggesting someone is yet to make a decision. So I'm going to say that it's going to look very, very positive as the G20 progresses. There's going to be a broad acknowledgement that this trade war will drag the world economy into a recession. And you're going to get a lot of effort by a lot of countries or leaders trying to get this deal in whatever way they can. At the same time, they're also forging deals with other countries as well. So there's that going on. But it appears that it might get close, but something might hold it. They might go away and say, well, we're going to work on this a little bit further. We've agreed on some things, but not others. It's that kind of situation I'm feeling. All right, okay, but I have to say I'm not getting a clear read on that one. Let's ask if the world leaders are actually concerned about going into recession. As I said, our Reserve Bank governor is suggesting that it's a downward slide. We're on the down slide. Okay, are world leaders concerned about going into a recession? World leaders, recession. Okay, absolutely. That's a signifier card. This Ace of Pentacles appearing twice in the last reading. It is what is on everybody's mind. Absolutely, it is what is on the leader's mind. I'm just going to give you a flick at what's quick look. This is the Temperance card. They're wanting more balance, but it's also negotiation as well. Negotiation to get that balance. What's challenging this new income sources, new starts here, is somebody who is the boss, somebody that they're not able to get around with this King of Wands. It's also an inspiration to step up and be counted as well. Very hard to rail against the world's leading economy and a leader who is unstable. They can't do it. But let's keep going. Certainly the foundation of the reading is the Eight of Pentacles. This is, as I said, it's all about trade here, discussions, information, data, sharing of information. Eye on the goal here, and it is around economies. We've got the Queen of Cups here in the past. And, you know, as I said, this cup comes up, this Queen of Cups comes up all the time with Trump. It's almost as if she's followed him to the G20, and that there's something that needs to be revealed here, and it could be what will eventually end his presidency. It's dogging him right through the G20. It's a question of time here. What's in the sky? Karma, destiny, and time. However, the immediate future is suggesting things are going to occur quite quickly here. We've got a lot of these wands with this Eight of Wands here coming forward very, very quickly. This could be, tarot is interesting in terms of emphasis and time and what it brings up at the beginning of a Celtic cross. This could be referring to what is going on in the Congress at the moment. With this Queen of Swords, it's suggesting currently, now this could be a female leader of a country, could come out with some biting and fairly cutting words here. In the past, it's been Angela Merkel, German's chancellor, but she is unwell. But it appears that there is some woman here that's wanting to do a bit of a battle here with Trump, because the environment around is the world's carrying the burdens as well. Are they worried about recession? Certainly, they have information that we don't have collectively. This is with this High Priestess in the hopes and fears. There's information there that they have that they're worried about because of this Ten of Wands here. And we've got Judgment. That's interesting. Are they worried? Yeah, they're worried. This is being mortally wounded in battle, or can be mortally wounded. This is also can signify illness as well. It's almost as if, and I'm getting a pull on the economy here, it's almost as if this was bound to happen. I mean, how could it not? We've got strength and endurance, though, suggesting that these leaders are going to be playing their own game and are going to be putting their interests forward. So with this balance and this negotiations, what I can see might be happening at the G20 is discussions going along at the side that we wouldn't necessarily be privy to. That might be new trade pacts with different countries, new relationships and new alliances coming. So okay, all right, that appears to be about it. I think, you know, like the rest of us, they're just hoping that those investigations will kick in and you know, Trump will be gone sometime soon. They're going to try not to rock the boat, but they're all working on their own, in their own interests, to form the necessary alliances, trading pacts, whatever. One last question, because I know you're all wanting to know. Putin and Trump will be meeting, I think I read, because when a reporter asked what they were going to be talking about, Trump said, "That's none of your business." Okay, and it's not funny. I know it's not funny, but for goodness sake, can it get any more ridiculous? Okay, so, all right, so what will Trump and Putin be talking about? What will Trump and Putin be talking about at the G20? Trump, Putin, G20. Ooh, I am getting that Putin is not happy at all with Trump. Ooh, okay, so we've got bullying and abuse of power. That's what's hidden from our view. I reckon is going to pretty much strong arm him and remind him that some time ago they had a deal. This is the Two of Wands. It's also a plan. They could also be hatching another plan as we move toward 2020, because this is making a plan and then there's a time that it takes to come to fruition. But thwarted by the Congress, this is exactly what they're going to be talking about. This is faction fighting. Their plan has been derailed by the Congress and by what's going on currently in America. Interesting, the foundation of the reading, they could even be talking about what information, the Mueller report, what information is out there. This is a lot of data and a lot of information coming through that's actually overwhelming. So it could be that they're talking about, while they, I don't know who's going to be in the room, whether there's going to be, in the past, Trump has met with him by himself, and he's also destroyed the interpreter's notes. It could be couched in the way that there's a lot of instability in your country. These investigations are holding back our ability to do business. It could be couched in that sort of way. But, really what's code here is that it's Putin this is the win in 2016. He could be asking where is our quid pro quo. We've got Trump juggling, certainly going to be trying to juggle here, juggle Putin. Yep, we've got Russia tending to have the upper hand in these talks, and we've got Trump, the merchant, the smug merchant. This is going back to 2016, and we've got loss. Why hasn't Trump delivered? Loss for Russia. And Trump trying to juggle all of what's going on currently in America as to why the deal wasn't fulfilled. Hopes and fears, certainly fear that the truth will be outed. And we've got the Ten of Cups here, suggesting the relationship between Putin and Trump, but also suggesting America. So America is going to be well and truly on Putin's mind. There's going to be some sort of anxiety around what's going on now. And there could even be another plan hatched, because this Knight of Wands is preparing to move forward with a plan, but the hasn't actually taken off on the journey yet. Because what's hidden from our view is, again, this bullying, but abuse of power. So all of those things could, according to these tarot cards, be discussed in that Trump-Putin meeting. All right, that's a bit of a G20 wrap-up for you. I'll close this down, and we'll have a look at, possibly have a look at Trump in July. Okay, let's leave it there, and I'll be back shortly.